Hi, and thanks for tuning in. Pastor Ryans recently spoke on the subject of how to handle difficult conversations. It started me thinking about a principle that I've applied to my life. This principle has made my difficult conversations a bit easier to navigate. You see, when we're involved in an uncomfortable conversation, it's uncomfortable because we're often talking about a hot button topic. Money, politics, religion, or just a few of the topics that can quickly take a conversation from civility to confrontation. The natural way to approach confrontation is what I call the accusatory method. That means I will accuse you of something that you did that hurt my feelings. You know those conversations. They often start with, "Why do you always do this?" Or, "You never do that." Now we know that the words always and never are classic overstatements and should be avoided, but we use them anyway. So when I accuse you, your response will almost always be defensive. For example, if I ask the question, "Why do you always do this?" your response will be, "No, I don't. I don't know what you're talking about." Or if I use the phrase, "You never do that," your response will be, "Yes, I do." As you well know, that often leads to a downright argument. Back and forth, and back and forth. And unfortunately, the end comes when somebody walks away in anger. So rather than use the accusatory method, I have adopted what I call the perspective method. In other words, rather than point the blame at you, I ask for your perspective on the issue. So instead of asking, "Why do you always do this?" I say, "Hey, I might be a little crazy here, but it seems like we have an ongoing issue that often leaves me a bit confused. Can you help me understand what's happening?" In other words, I'm asking for your perspective. And I've found that people don't get anywhere as defensive when you politely ask for their perspective. Instead, they engage, and often a good conversation ensues. When I've had these opportunities and have asked for perspective, I've found I get one of these three. Perspective number one: "Wow, I had no idea this was causing such a problem. I certainly didn't mean to be hurtful. Please forgive me." Perspective number two: "You know, I've been going through a lot of stuff, and unfortunately, I'm taking that out on you. I'm really sorry." Or perspective number three: "Yes, I meant to do that because I think you're a jerk." Now, perspectives 1 and 2 are pretty easy to deal with. But what do you do when you're hit with perspective number 3? That's when I need to be mature, not get defensive, and find out what I've done to hurt you to the point where you feel you need to hurt me in return. Now, this isn't for the faint of heart, but it's a crucial conversation. And as such, it can be difficult and awkward, but extremely necessary. I mean, when you think about it, the only thing we're taking with us to heaven are relationships. So they're worth the work. So when you're put into a difficult conversation, don't accuse, but instead seek perspective. Be patient and listen. This approach has repaired several of my relationships, and I think it can help you as well. The Apostle Paul found relationships so important. He wrote the following while being a prisoner in a Roman prison. This passage is found in Ephesians 4. I, therefore, a prisoner for the Lord, urge you to walk in a manner worthy of the calling to which you have been called, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. I pray that as you seek perspective, your relationships will be strengthened. Thanks again for tuning in.